Sarah and I moved into our two-bedroom apartment in Austin, Texas 2 years ago. I still remember the morning light streaming through the windows, her laughter echoing off the walls as we unpacked boxes and arranged furniture. We built something together, a space that was ours. For months, everything felt right. But lately, Sarah kept mentioning how her mom, Linda, was struggling alone in her old place. The comments grew more frequent, more pointed. Then, one Tuesday evening, she came home with news that would unravel everything. Standing in our kitchen, still holding her purse, Sarah told me her mother would be moving in with us. Not asking, telling. Before I continue, I would love to know where you are watching from. Drop your city in the comments below. If you have ever dealt with in-law drama or felt pushed out of your own home, hit that like button. And subscribe, because this story takes a turn you will not see coming. So let me take you back to that Tuesday evening when everything started falling apart. I got home after a long day at work. I am a software engineer, and that particular Tuesday had been brutal, back-to-back meetings, and debugging sessions that fried my brain. All I wanted was a quiet dinner, and maybe an hour to decompress. Sarah was in the kitchen stirring something on the stove. She seemed nervous, avoiding eye contact. We sat down to eat, and halfway through the meal, she dropped it on me. "Mom is having trouble with rent." I told her she could stay with us for a while. I nearly choked on my pasta. For how long? Sarah pushed food around her plate. "Just until she gets back on her feet. Maybe a few months." My mind raced. We only have 2 bedrooms. Where would she sleep? "She can use your office. You mostly work from the living room anyway." That was true, but it was not the point. "Can we talk about this more? I need time to process." Sarah reached across the table. "It is temporary, I promise." I wanted to believe her. I really did. But something in her tone, that defensive edge, made my stomach tighten. Still, I did not want to start a fight. I nodded, swallowing my concerns along with the rest of dinner. Saturday morning arrived faster than I wanted. The moving truck pulled up at 9 in the morning. Linda stepped out wearing oversized sunglasses and a bright floral blouse. She was 57 with dyed blonde hair and a voice that carried 3 blocks. Everything about her presence announced itself. "Ethan, honey, come help with these bags." I grabbed the first suitcase, then the second, then the third. She had 3 massive suitcases, 5 cardboard boxes, and personal furniture, including a vanity mirror and a cushioned armchair. This was not a temporary setup. This was a relocation. I spent the next 4 hours dismantling my office, my desk, my computer setup, my books. Everything that made that room mine got crammed into the living room. Linda immediately began redecorating. She hung pink curtains. She arranged decorative figurines on every surface. She placed scented candles that made the whole room smell like artificial lavender. "She just wants to feel at home," Sarah explained when she saw my face. I bit my tongue. "It is temporary," I reminded myself. "Just a few weeks. I can handle a few weeks." By the second week, Linda had settled in completely. Too completely. She started rearranging our shared spaces without asking. One day, I came home to find our couch moved across the room. "This would look better by the window," she announced, not even looking up from her magazine. Another day, she reorganized the kitchen cabinets. I spent 20 minutes looking for the coffee mugs, only to find them in a completely illogical spot above the refrigerator. The cooking was another issue. Linda took over the kitchen entirely, preparing meals based solely on her preferences. I would come home to unfamiliar smells filling the apartment. Boiled cabbage, overcooked liver, heavy cream sauces that made my stomach turn. She never asked what I liked, or what Sarah and I usually ate. Our routine vanished. The refrigerator told the whole story. Linda's groceries dominated every shelf. My protein shakes got shoved into the back corner. The meal prep containers I relied on for work lunches disappeared, entirely replaced by Linda's Tupperware army of mysterious leftovers. Evenings became unbearable. Linda watched television at maximum volume. Game shows, soap operas, true crime documentaries, all blaring from 7 in the evening until past midnight. I tried working on my laptop in the living room, but I could not concentrate over the noise. When I politely asked if she could turn it down, she laughed it off. "Oh, Ethan, do not be so sensitive. This is barely loud." I complained to Sarah that night in our bedroom, keeping my voice low. "Your mom is taking over. I cannot work. I cannot relax. I feel like a guest in my own place." Sarah sighed. "She is adjusting. Give her time." "How much time?" "It has been 2 weeks. She has been through a lot. Do not pressure her." That became Sarah's default response to everything. Do not pressure her. She is adjusting. Give her time. I felt invisible, my needs erased in favor of Linda's comfort. The first month crawled by. I kept waiting for Linda to mention job applications or apartment searches. Nothing. One evening, I tried bringing it up casually. "Linda, how is the apartment search going?" She barely glanced up from her phone. "These things take time. Rent is so expensive now. I can help you look online. I know some good sites." She waved me off. "I will get to it." But she never did. Days turned into weeks. Whenever I tried to circle back to the topic, she found ways to dodge it. And Sarah kept defending her. She has been through a lot. Do not pressure her. The same script, over and over. The tension between Sarah and me grew thick. We stopped having real conversations. Our interactions became transactional. "Did you pay the electric bill? Can you pick up milk?" We had no privacy, no moments alone, no space to be a couple. Linda was always there, in the next room, in the kitchen, on the couch, occupying every inch of our lives. I started staying late at work, just to avoid going home. My own apartment had become a place I dreaded. I would sit in my car in the parking lot, scrolling through my phone, delaying the inevitable walk through that door. When did I become an outsider in my own home? That question haunted me as the calendar flipped to month 2. But what came next made those early weeks seem like nothing. Month 2 brought a new level of invasion. Linda started inviting people over without warning. I came home one Thursday evening, arms full of groceries, to find 4 women sitting around our living room playing cards. My work equipment had been shoved against the wall to make room for their game. Empty wine glasses littered the coffee table. "This is Sarah's husband, Linda," said, barely glancing my way. The other women nodded politely before returning to their cards. I stood there, groceries getting heavy in my arms, feeling like an intruder at a party in my own home. The women stayed until 11 at night. Their laughter and chatter made working impossible. I locked myself in the bedroom, trying to focus on emails, but the noise seeped through the walls. When they finally left, and I mentioned it to Sarah, she shrugged. "They are just having fun. Do not be so uptight." Uptight. That word stung. I was not being uptight. I was being pushed out. Then the bills arrived. Our electric bill had always run around $85 per month. The new bill was $230. I stared at it, recalculating, certain there was an error. There was not. Linda kept the air conditioning running at 65 degrees all day, even when nobody was home. When I mentioned it, she complained she ran hot and needed it cool. The water bill doubled. Linda took 45-minute showers twice daily. The grocery expenses exploded. She bought expensive organic produce, imported cheeses, premium coffee beans. Everything added up, and I was the one paying because my name was on the lease. I tried discussing finances with Sarah. "We need to talk about the expenses. Your mom staying here is costing us a lot more than we planned." Sarah's eyes flashed. "Are you saying my mother is a burden?" "I am saying we agreed this was temporary, but nothing is changing. She has been here 2 months. When is she leaving?" "She is my mother." "What do you want me to do, throw her out?" "I want her to contribute or find her own place." That was the agreement. "You are being selfish." The argument escalated. Voices raised, doors slammed. We did not speak for 2 days afterward. Linda, of course, heard everything. She started making snide comments. "Sarah, you married a real penny pincher, did you not?" The privacy violations got worse. Linda stopped knocking on our bedroom door. She would barge in whenever she wanted, claiming she was bringing clean towels or looking for something. One Sunday morning, Sarah and I were still in bed when Linda walked right in. "Just bringing fresh towels," she sang out, setting them on the dresser. "Linda, please knock next time," I said, pulling the covers higher. She laughed. "Oh, do not be silly. We are family." Family. That word became a weapon. It justified every boundary she trampled. She started commenting on our personal life, asking when we were planning to have babies, offering to help raise them. The thought made my skin crawl. Sarah and I had not been intimate in weeks, because Linda was always home, always within earshot, always somehow involved in our business. I caught her eavesdropping more than once. I would be talking to Sarah in the kitchen, keeping my voice low, and I would see Linda's shadow in the hallway, just out of sight, listening. When I mentioned it to Sarah, she said I was being paranoid. She does not mean any harm. But she did. Maybe not consciously, but her presence was suffocating us. Every aspect of our marriage was deteriorating. I barely recognized the woman I had married. Sarah was not my partner anymore. She was Linda's daughter first and my wife second. Wednesday of the 8th week, I reached my limit. I sat Sarah down after Linda went to bed. "Sarah, it has been 2 months. We need to set a move-out date for your mom." Her jaw tightened. "She is not ready." "When will she be ready?" This was supposed to be a few weeks, not permanent. "She needs more time. More time for what? She is not looking for apartments. She is not applying for jobs. She is settled here, and we are the ones suffering." Sarah stood up, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. "If you do not like it, you can leave." The words hung in the air like smoke. Everything went quiet. I could hear the refrigerator humming in the kitchen, the distant sound of traffic outside. "What did you just say?" "You heard me. If you cannot handle having my mother here, maybe you should go." I stared at her, searching her face for any sign she did not mean it. There was none. Linda appeared in the hallway, arms crossed, saying nothing but clearly listening, watching. "You really mean that?" My voice came out quieter than I intended. "I am not choosing between you and my mother." "But you just did." The realization hit me like cold water. My wife had chosen her mother over me, over our marriage, over everything we had built together. I walked into the bedroom and closed the door. My hands shook as I sat on the edge of the bed. The room felt smaller, the walls pressing in. I just became homeless in my own home. That night, I made a decision that would change everything. I did not sleep that night. My mind raced through options, scenarios, consequences. Around 3 in the morning, I pulled out the lease agreement from our filing cabinet. I read through it carefully, highlighting the relevant sections. Only my name appeared on the document. Just mine. 2 years earlier, when we were apartment hunting, Sarah's credit score had been too low. She had some old unpaid medical bills and a maxed-out credit card from her early 20s. Our landlord, Mr. Patterson, would not approve the application with her name on it. So I signed a loan, took full financial responsibility, became the sole legal tenant. At the time, it did not matter. We were a team. We were partners. But sitting there in the dark, that document took on new meaning. If she wants me to leave, I will leave. But this is my apartment legally. The thought was not born from anger. It was clarity. Cold, sharp clarity. Sarah had told me to leave if I did not like the situation. She gave me permission, even demanded it. So I would take her up on it. And if I left, if I terminated the lease, Sarah and Linda would have to leave too. I checked my bank account. I kept my finances separate after a friend's divorce taught me that lesson early. I had enough savings to cover the lease termination penalty and first and last month's rent somewhere new. I could do this. For the first time in months, I felt like I had control again. Morning came slowly. I got ready for work in silence. Sarah avoided looking at me, still defensive from the night before. Linda was in the kitchen making breakfast, humming to herself, acting like nothing had happened. I ate without speaking. The scrambled eggs tasted like cardboard. Before walking out the door, I stopped and turned to Sarah. "You told me to leave if I did not like it. So I am leaving." She looked up, confused. "What, I will be gone by this weekend? You and your mom can have the place." "Ethan, I did not mean you meant it. I am just respecting your wishes." I left before she could respond. The door clicked shut behind me, final and definite. I drove to work on autopilot, my decision solidifying with every mile. During my lunch break, I called Mr. Patterson. He answered on the third ring, his gruff voice asking what I needed. "I need to break the lease early. I will pay the penalty." There was a pause. "That is 2 months' rent as penalty. $3,000. You sure about this, Ethan?" "Completely sure." "When can we process this?" Another pause. He seemed surprised by how calm I sounded. "You can move out by the end of the month. That gives you 3 weeks. I will draw up the paperwork." "Perfect. You know only your name is on the lease, right? Once you are out, and the lease is terminated, they cannot stay." "I am aware." A longer pause this time. "Your wife knows this. She will." After hanging up, I called Marcus, an old college friend living in Houston. We had kept in touch over the years, meeting up for occasional weekend trips. He answered immediately, and I explained the situation in broad strokes. "Stay as long as you need, man. I have got a spare room. Seriously, no rush." "I appreciate it." "You doing okay?" "I will be." I booked a moving truck for Saturday morning. Then, I started mentally cataloging our apartment. The couch, I bought it before we got married. The dining table, mine. The television, the coffee maker, the bed frame. Almost all of it came from me. Sarah had moved in with a suitcase and some boxes of clothes. Most of the furniture and household items had my name on the receipts. I brought almost everything into this place. I could take almost everything out. Saturday morning arrived crisp and clear. The moving truck pulled up at 7. I had hired 2 movers to speed up the process. The sound of the truck engine woke Sarah. She stumbled out of the bedroom, her hair, messy, eyes wide. "What are you doing?" I told you. "I am leaving." Her face went pale. "Ethan, let us talk about this. You had 2 months to talk. You chose." Linda appeared wrapped in a pink bathrobe, her face creased with sleep and confusion. "You cannot just take everything." "Actually, I can. I paid for it." I directed the movers with calm efficiency. The couch went first, leaving a pale rectangular outline on the carpet. Then, the dining table and chairs, the television, my desk and computer equipment, the bed frame. Sarah stood in the hallway crying, but I did not stop. Could not stop. "Where are we supposed to sleep?" Sid, her voice cracked. "That is not my problem anymore." Linda's shock turned to fury. "This is ridiculous." "Sarah, call the police." I pulled out my phone, showing the digital receipts I had prepared. "Everything here has my name on the purchase. The police cannot do anything about me taking my own property." By 10 in the morning, the apartment was stripped bare. Only Sarah's personal items and Linda's furniture remained. The place looked skeletal, hollow, unfamiliar. As I loaded the last box into the truck, I walked back inside one final time. Sarah sat on the floor, her back against the wall. I handed her an envelope. "What is this lease termination notice? You have 3 weeks." She opened it with shaking hands, her face drained of all color as she read. "You canceled the lease. My name. My lease. You told me to leave." Linda grabbed the paper from Sarah's hands, scanning it frantically. "She cannot just be evicted. She is not being evicted. I am leaving. The lease ends." Mr. Patterson explained it clearly to me. "When I vacate and terminate the lease, the tenancy ends for everyone." Sarah looked up at me, tears streaming. "Where are we supposed to go?" "You will figure it out. Together." I walked out, climbed into the truck, and drove away. In the rearview mirror, I watched the apartment building shrink and disappear. I felt no anger, no satisfaction, just a deep, settling peace. I did not leave to punish them. I left because I finally chose myself. The weeks that followed taught me what freedom actually feels like. Marcus's spare room was small but quiet. The first morning I woke to silence. No television blaring, no Linda's loud phone conversations, no tension hovering in the air. Just peace. Marcus made breakfast, and we talked about old times, mutual friends, plans for the future. Normal conversation. Easy conversation. I started apartment hunting immediately. Houston had better job opportunities anyway, and the cost of living was reasonable. During the day, I worked remotely from Marcus's place. My productivity skyrocketed. Without constant interruptions and the underlying stress of my home situation, I could focus. I finished projects ahead of schedule. My manager noticed. Evenings. Marcus and I would grab dinner at different spots around the city, watch basketball games, have casual conversations about nothing important. I had forgotten what it felt like to simply exist without walking on eggshells. To laugh without wondering who was listening. To relax without bracing for the next conflict. My sleep improved dramatically. No more lying awake staring at the ceiling, wondering how to fix an unfixable situation. I slept deeply, dreamlessly, and woke up refreshed. 5 days after I left, my phone rang. Sarah's name lit up the screen. I almost did not answer. But I did. Her voice was thick with tears. "Ethan, please. The landlord is serious. We need more time." I stayed calm. "I gave you 2 months when I asked your mom to leave. You said no. I did not think you would actually do this. You told me to leave." "I did. Can you talk to Mr. Patterson? Extend the lease. Please?" "No. You are being cruel. I am being honest. You chose. Now live with it." I hung up. My hands did not shake. My heart did not race. I felt nothing but resolution. A week later, Sarah's sister Jennifer called. I had always gotten along with Jennifer. She was more practical, less dramatic than Sarah. "How can you do this to your wife?" Her voice had that rehearsed quality, like she was reading from a script Sarah had given her. I explained calmly what had happened. The whole story without embellishment or blame. Just facts. When I finished, there was a long silence. "Sarah did not tell me she said that." "Ask her." Another pause. "I am sorry, Ethan. I did not know the full story. That changes things." I appreciated her honesty. By week 3, news filtered back to me through Marcus's mutual friends. Sarah and Linda had moved in temporarily with one of Linda's friends. The arrangement was cramped. 2 families sharing a small 2-bedroom house. Linda complained constantly about me, calling me ungrateful, selfish, heartless. But Sarah, according to the grapevine, had started defending me. I pushed him too far. It was my fault. They were struggling to find an affordable apartment. Sarah's credit was still poor, and they had no savings. Linda finally had to start job hunting, applying at retail stores and restaurants. Sarah picked up extra shifts at her job. Reality had set in, hard and fast. They had taken me for granted, assumed I would always be there, always accommodating, always bending. I felt no satisfaction hearing about their struggles. No schadenfreude, just a neutral acknowledgement that consequences exist. I did not do this for revenge. I did it for my peace. 2 months after leaving Austin, I found my own place. A 1-bedroom apartment on the 7th floor, with a small balcony overlooking the city. It was affordable, quiet, and entirely mine. I decorated slowly, choosing each piece carefully. Minimalist furniture, neutral colors, plants on the balcony. Everything reflected the person I was rediscovering. I joined a gym and started running again, a habit I had abandoned because Linda complained about the noise when I used the treadmill at 5 in the morning. Now I could run whenever I wanted. I reconnected with old friends I had lost touch with during my marriage. Friday nights became game nights with Marcus and his circle. No drama, no tension, no performance. My work performance continued improving. 3 months in, my manager offered me a promotion. More responsibility, better pay, and the option to stay remote permanently. I accepted immediately. Everything was falling into place. I realized I had forgotten who I was. The compromise had been so gradual, so constant, that I had not noticed myself disappearing. Now, piece by piece, I was finding him again. Not bitter, not angry, just free. There was no animosity toward Sarah. We had wanted different things. She chose her mother. I chose myself. Neither choice was wrong, but they were incompatible. Understanding that brought clarity, not resentment. 6 months after leaving, I sat on my balcony one Saturday morning, coffee in hand, watching the city wake up. My phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. "Can we talk?" I stared at it for a long time. Part of me was curious. Part of me had already moved on. I did not reply immediately. Instead, I thought about the journey. From feeling trapped to finding peace. From compromising myself into invisibility to reclaiming my space and identity. The lesson had been painful but necessary. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It is survival. When someone tells you to leave, believe them. You cannot save a relationship where you are the only one compromising. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away. I did not miss the marriage. I missed the idea of it, the potential it once held. But that version had died long before I walked out the door. I was not angry anymore, just free. I might text Sarah back someday. I might not. It did not matter. What mattered was this: I chose myself. And that was the best decision I ever made. If you are reading this and you feel trapped in your own home, ask yourself, what is keeping you there? Fear, obligation, hope that things will change. Sometimes love means knowing when to let go, not of them, but of the version of yourself that is disappearing. I left to find peace, and I did. In the space I created for myself, I found something I thought I had lost forever. Me. Have you ever had to choose between keeping the peace and keeping yourself? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and share it with someone who might need to hear it. And subscribe for more real stories about life, relationships, and finding your way back to yourself. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope wherever you are, whatever situation you are facing, you find the courage to choose yourself too. Take care, and remember, you deserve to feel at home in your own life.